So this video is going to be kind of my reminder of what happened in my last Pathfinder game. I run two Pathfinder games. One is a homebrew game. One is a Shadows of the Last War game, which is a Eberron campaign that was written back in around 2000, I think, for 3rd edition 3.5. Both my games take place in Eberron, and both games use Pathfinder 2, so there's a little bit of conversion going on. Either way, this is for my most recent game with the Shadows of the Last War campaign. We've got 3 of the 4 players are very new to the game of Pathfinder and D&D in general. But here's what happened. In the previous adventure, one of the players, the ranger, he got captured. He was getting interrogated by a necromancer, a cleric, and several soldiers. At the beginning of this session, the necromancer decided, since the ranger wouldn't talk, she was just going to kill him and use Speak the Dead and get the information she wanted. So she stabs the ranger, kills him, extracts information, and then basically does Raise Dead, turns him into a skeleton. She has another minion. The person playing the ranger had already rolled up another character. He's now playing as a wizard named Ator, and he was part of a previous expedition that was stuck in the ruins that the party was exploring. So there's 4 players currently. As I mentioned, the new player Ator, the new character Ator, is a wizard. We have a barbarian, we have got a monk, and we have got a warforged fighter. They're on a mission to go and collect a schema for House Cannith. And the reason they're in the place they're in a place called Rose Quarry, which is a ruins of a town. And they are trying to find a map to lead them to one of House Cannith's workshops that has been lost in the Mournlands, because that's where they can find this schema they're looking for. When they got there, they found a camp full of people. Rather than sneaking away from them or investigating, they walked right in and tried to talk. Unbeknownst to them, it's a bunch of Emerald Claw minions and soldiers with a bunch of undead skeletons, and they got attacked, chased out of town. And this session, they tried to get away from said Emerald Claw people. They got chased back out of town. The town of Rose Quarry set up onto a plateau. 2 of the sides are mined out with a couple 100 feet drop on the west and the north. So they were back out in the darkness and the stones, trying to figure out a way to get in. The person who brought them there, he has an elemental, earth elemental cart that basically was a 3-day travel from the town they came from to here. He met up with them after they had convinced him to have a distraction, and he was rather upset that he got involved. He didn't want to be. He said, "I will not be helping you any longer. If you're not done with what you're here to do by noon tomorrow, I will leave you and you're walking home." So the players decided to try to sneak back into Rose Quarry. They found another road going into it, but it was rather washed out. The stones were very loose, and 2 of the players, they basically collapsed the stones on the path on the way in, and they eventually made it in there fine. They caused some noise, but they didn't get spotted. As soon as they get in, they have found a graveyard with some glass zombies. So the whole town of Rose Quarry is covered in a glass-like substance, and there are glass zombies of the dwarves who previously lived there that are kind of chipping away at all of the glass around the stones. Well, in this graveyard, they decided to sneak through it, one of the players, the barbarian, tried to sneak through it to avoid being seen, and he was spotted by a vampire who basically tapped him on the shoulder and said, "What are you doing here?" While that was going on, the monk and the new wizard have gone around the other side of the building that the graveyard is next to. They trip on the glass fall and alert one of the zombies who's come shambling out. And at this point, the player who was playing the Warforged had to leave early, so when a player leaves in my game, they just cease to exist. I don't feel like coming up with 5 reasons why they didn't come with the party. They're just not there. So we've got 3 people at this point, and they called it a night, deciding that if something was going to go bad, the fighter should probably be there. So we'll see what they can do in a town full of undead mercenaries or necromancer mercenaries and a zombies and now a vampire while they're trying to find just a map to where they're going. We'll see.